Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin still moving above 44k. Hasn't really, it's a bit like as if Bitcoin had taken the day off. It's just moving sideways. Today is not much happening. I mean, it is weekend. We know that on the weekend, typically there is less volume in the market. On the other hand, whales, if they want to have it a little bit easier to move the market into a certain direction, because generally there is less volume. But yeah, Bitcoin, since it yesterday moved all the way up to 45k and maybe burnt its fingers a little bit, has retraced a little bit down to around 44.3, 44.4k, and pretty much the whole day it's been moving around this price range. So what do we see imminently in the chart? Maybe a little bit higher level. You know that if you've been following me, what we see here on the chart is my target area for the primary expectation. That would be here to get into this range between 20 and 29k. Not necessarily 20. I always get comments with, oh, you want Bitcoin to go to 20k. No, it needs to do the minimum of 29k to complete the correction in a clean way. That would be it would be in a so-called expanded flat where you come down lower with that wave A, would be a lower low compared to that wave in June. That would be my primary expectation still. To do that, the price of course needs to turn around here and sell off outside of this triangle to the downside and then get into this range down here. The alternative is we break out above this triangle that you can see here in white, this symmetrical triangle, and we form here a wave B. Yeah, we form a wave B and get into this range here. That would be the wave B retracement into a region between 55 and 65k. From here, however, I would then expect the price to turn around, because this would here purely be a wave B, and the wave B typically lands in this range in terms of the Elliott wave, the Fibonacci retracements. Therefore, then afterwards, I would expect the price to go still into my target area. So the only question is, do we go there straight away, or do we go there with a little bit of an extended move up and then down? In the end, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, go up first and then down would just extend everything. I think both options and both scenarios have their good sides. And yeah, as I said, it all can only work in terms of probability. So we can only wait for what the market is doing and then react to it. My reaction will be, should we really break above this triangle, is that I will open a long position. Where will I open the long position? I will open the long position as soon as we break above this previous high here from the 10th of February. That would be above 45.8k. What I would want to see is, to do that, the price to move up, get a retest on the 4-hour chart, ideally on the daily, above 45.8, and then start to move up. So at this retest level, that is where I would open a long position. At the moment, I'm a bit careful with opening a trading position, because we are still in the triangle and we could still turn around, and we could even do some crazy things like moving down here first and then up. And unfortunately, we don't really know until we really break out of that triangle. But what do we see imminently here on the chart currently? I find that very interesting, because we see two rather bearish patterns, so that indicate exhaustion. Of course, they don't need to play out, but I just want to, obviously that's what I do here, I show you what I see in the charts. This here is an ascending wedge, which is basically considered a rather bearish pattern. It indicates exhaustion in the chart. We saw that earlier today already. I think we were here at the top earlier today. It has since then moved to the support level of it, pretty much moved sideways, Bitcoin today, but alongside this ascending wedge, and it could either break out to the downside now or move up and here at around 45k break out to the upside. It's getting tighter and tighter, contracted, squeezed, and at some point we need to see a breakout from here. If we go to the 1-hour chart, we can even see another pattern that would be also a rather bearish pattern. So you have actually a bearish pattern within a bearish pattern. This would be that broadening ascending wedge. So a broadening ascending wedge is pretty much like an ascending wedge, a bearish one. So you can draw it here and you can draw it here. And again, it doesn't matter, do you draw it like this or do you draw it like that? They are both bearish patterns, and they both would indicate a breakout to the downside more often than not. Here, that was obviously a massive fake out. But yeah, this is what I see here at the moment. And if we break out of that descending, the ascending wedge to the downside, that would be a breakout below 44.2k. That would have to happen now. Or in the alternative scenario, if you really should move up from here, it would be a breakout. If that happened today, it would need to be above 45.2k. So that's pretty much what we see here at the moment. And at the moment, I'm still waiting, holding off, not opening a long position. But as soon as we break above that 45.8k level, then I'll do it. And I'm not fussed about which scenario is now going to play out. I think that is very important, not to try to be too emotionally attached to any scenario. It's more about, what do we do in each scenario. I told you what we do if we move up. And if we move down, it's simple for me. Then I will not do anything until we reach a bit lower. And then I will add again to my Bitcoin bag. We still have, at the moment even, very attractive price levels considering where Bitcoin was and where Bitcoin can go in the future, which in my opinion would be a range maybe between 90 and 150k in that next major wave to the upside. I would rather say above 100k, but as you already see here with Bitcoin, then maybe you get a 2x, maybe you get a 3x, maybe you even get a 4x, but many of the altcoins will probably deliver something more around a 10x in the next all-time high. So far we can just wait here with Bitcoin. Therefore, it's also a little bit difficult in terms of the altcoins at the moment, because Bitcoin really is at this decision moment here. And it's getting tricky. Very interesting, that pattern here that we're currently forming. And I can't really wait to see how it's going to play out. But I will definitely react to it when we break to the upside. I just hope it's not when I am asleep, but there typically is always another entry opportunity. Unless we really move straight away from 45.8 to 55k, then probably I'm going to wait for the next entry. Looking at the indicators on the 8-hour chart, we can see that it continues to lose buying momentum here on the 8-hour chart. We saw that earlier today, on the RSI, but we are still far away from a potential bearish crossover. The daily hasn't changed at all, though that is still going on. And let's take a look at the weekly chart, because on the weekly we are going to see here this bullish crossover on the MACD coming. That might already happen in the next week, depending on what happens now with Bitcoin. What is very important with these indicators is just to understand what they could support. So they would definitely, in this case, which makes it very difficult at the moment, they would certainly support both upside and downside. And that is what is so tricky. I mean, certainly what we can see, the trend is towards the upside. We can see that the negative momentum is continuously being reduced here on the weekly, and that is quite meaningful, especially if you get a bullish crossover here. I think we are going to get that bullish crossover, especially if we break. I think we get it if we break out of this triangle to the upside. If we break to the downside, that might be delayed a bit. But what we need to understand is the last time we had that bullish crossover, we moved to new all-time highs on the MACD. What we don't have yet is here the long signal on the ADX and DI. The 4-day chart obviously had that bullish crossover already here, so that was way earlier. And we can see that all indicators basically support higher prices. I mean, the RSI is not even close to being overbought. We don't have a long signal though yet here on the ADX and DI on the 4-day chart. But even on the daily chart, even that would support higher levels. We are far away from being overbought. So, and that is what the indicators can tell us. Would they support higher prices? And they do. And then in case of a breakout, we can be more confident that the price could actually really move higher. But my primary expectation hasn't changed yet. Told you that as long as we are not broken out of the triangle, my primary expectation remains that we're going to come into this target area first before we move up. But of course, the higher we go, the less likely that gets, because we're getting closer to that resistance level. Okay, good. So that's what we can see here currently. Maybe one final look here on the weekly chart, and we can see that the candles are as big as they were here, for example. So we can see here significant upside at the moment, and it is really a very, very interesting. Today is a bit boring, but generally what is happening here at the moment on the Bitcoin chart is very interesting. Certainly doesn't get boring at the moment. I mean, yes, today it is, but I'm very excited to see what's going to play out next year on the Bitcoin chart, because it will have an implication about what Bitcoin is going to do in the next few days and weeks and maybe even months. So hopefully that video was useful. If you liked it, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and also subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. For bronze members, you get the access to the weekly live stream, which is tomorrow, by the way. For silver members, you get the weekly live stream plus Telegram and Discord access, where you can find my own buy and sell orders and all sorts of additional content, articles. It's basically also a learning hub. And the gold membership contains basically silver, and also on top of that, the analysis of various stocks and shares. And since I started that 5 to 6 weeks ago, the picks that I had, they have gone up between, I mean, some have stayed neutral, but a lot have gone up 10, and I think one even 30%. So in just a few weeks, which is just fantastic. And I think that pays for itself. So yeah, hopefully you like the update, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.